Why you stay with the narc? Because you're trauma bonded. If you stay with a narc long enough, and frankly, it doesn't take too long, the relentless cycle of abuse creates a powerful trauma bond. The narc isn't trauma bonded to you because he doesn't care about you. He only has a bond with himself. You are trauma bonded to the narc, however. Here's my definition of the trauma bond. The powerful, dysfunctional, and destructive emotional attachment to the narc developed by his never-ending abuse of his victim. Here's why the trauma bond is so strong and so hard to break. First, the traumas keep on coming, so you have no time and space to heal and recover. Like waves on the shore, you keep getting knocked down, and you can't get up and get away from the pain and the trauma. And not just knocked down, each new trauma adds to the traumas you've already suffered from the narc. So your traumatic burden just grows and grows. Second, as the trauma bond gets stronger and stronger, you get weaker and weaker. Each new trauma takes away more of your self-esteem, your confidence, your dignity, your energy, your identity. Third, since you're so enmeshed, so attached to the abuser, the only option you can see to stop your ongoing pain is to change the narc. Since I'm not going anywhere, he's got to change. He's the only one you can see, so you think you have to stay and try to change him. Fourth, the brief periods when the narc is nice to you, and I mean brief, or at least not actively abusing you, give you false hope that he'll actually change. He's not changing. Narcs are unwilling and actually unable to change. Fifth, you blame yourself for your pain. As you get hit with each new trauma, you blame yourself for it, not the narc. You believe it's your fault the narc hurts you. Truth is, the abuse is 100% the fault of the narc, not yours. Your only fault is staying with him and not starting the escape process. Sixth, all your past unresolved traumas transfer to the narc. So your trauma bond is a huge ball of pain fusing you to the narc. The trauma bond is not just made up of the traumas the narc inflicts on you. It is made up of all the traumas others have inflicted on you in your life. That's a lot of trauma, and it firmly and powerfully attaches you to the narc. In other words, you didn't come into the relationship with the narc, many of you, without previous traumas, because we all get traumatized as we grow up in some way or fashion. If your dad abused you, all that pain connected to your dad that you've not healed from attaches to the narc, feeding the trauma bond. Let's say your mom neglected you, didn't protect you. And many moms were very passive and didn't protect you from the narc, who was your father. Okay, all that pain with your mom now transfers to the narc. A neighbor boy sexually assaulted you. You'd never worked through that. That attaches to the narc. A previous husband traumatized you with his multiple adulteries or his abuse of you emotionally, maybe even physically. All that, unrecovered from, attaches to the narc. A best friend betrayed you. All that connected to the narc. All these unresolved traumas have transferred to the narc. Seventh, on a deep unconscious level, you think the only way to heal from all your past traumas is if the narc changes, stops hurting you, and becomes a loving husband. That is the only solution you can see. That is not true. And it's a good thing it's not true, because the narc isn't going to change. It is not a solution at all. What the narc does has nothing to do with you healing from all your traumas. Now, once you are trauma bonded to the narc, you have two choices. You can decide to stay with the narc, and many women that I talk to will stay with the narc. It's not my idea. But if you stay with the narc, okay, you decide to stay, you can continue to be abused. That's your choice. You continue to be abused, and that will strengthen your trauma bond. That's the first choice. Bad choice. You can make it. God will let you make it. Or you can decide to leave the narc, fight back against his abuse, and weaken the trauma bond as you go through the process of escape. Now, that's the choice I want you to make, and I am convinced God wants you to make. It isn't an easy choice, and it will not be an easy road. But staying with the narc is far worse. It's a guaranteed fail. Everybody gets destroyed. Now, if you decide to escape, I'm your guy. I will not help you in any way, shape, or form stay with the narc and learn how to manage him. That's not what I do. I have no interest in that, because I'm convinced God has no interest in that. Staying with a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, that's what he is. Staying with someone who's doing this kind of damage. You only stay long enough for you to get ready to leave and to get your kids ready to leave. That's the only way I'll help you. My strategies will take you from victim, which is where you are now, to warrior, fighting back, getting stronger, and eventually to victor, getting out and living a new life. To see exactly how to take a huge bite out of your trauma bond, get my online video series. This is one of the main reasons I developed this 21 video series. From Codependent to Independent is the title. 21 things you must do before leaving your narcissist. It's on my website, davideclarkephd.com. I think it'll take a huge bite as you read and as you apply those principles, a huge bite out of that trauma bond. And as you weaken the trauma bond, you're getting stronger, and that gets you closer to leaving. Because if you stay trauma bonded, you ain't going anywhere, and you never will. We have to take care of that trauma bond. Now, in the next video, this is a two-parter here. In the next video, I'll show you how to start getting rid of your trauma bond. I'm going to start you down that process of attacking and weakening and eventually getting rid of your trauma bond. And again, on the website is the Codependent to Independent video series, all my resources, books, phone advice, social media, davideclarkephd.com. That's Clarke with an E.